This is Mr. Payton. Mr. Payton likes giving his students lessons that involve real-life skills. This is because his classroom is dominantly children from low-income and working-class families. Many of them are recent immigrants. This is Mr. Payton's class. They enjoy his class because they appreciate him as somebody who always tries to make what they were learning relevant to their lives. This is Cynthia Hollingsworth. Mr. Payton saw a story on the local news that she was doing a residency at a nearby school teaching students dining etiquette. The children she taught enjoyed her class. The only issue that arises is the fact that the students she teaches are students who are predominantly from affluent white families. Mr. Payton hoped that they could get a grant for her to come teach one of his classes. When he approached the principal about it, he learned that the principal was actually friends with Miss Hollingsworth, and so they called her. After a few calls, she offered to do an abbreviated version of her residency. Once he told his class that this was happening, he was even more sure of his decision to bring her in because the students had many questions and comments about the relevance to their lives. This is Kevin, one of Mr. Payton's low-income students. Kevin said, "Mr. P, you're always telling us how the stuff we learn can be used in the real world. I don't think this is real-world learning for us because we'll probably never be invited to a fancy event." He thought for a moment. He genuinely wanted his students to see the real-world relevance for the experience and explain that they never know when these skills might come in handy, that they should have the same opportunities that other children their age are getting. This seemed to satisfy the class. Mr. Payton met with Ms. Hollingsworth before she came to inform her of the demographics of his class. She responded that demographics have no role and that anyone can learn dining etiquette and social graces the same way. The day for her to come in finally arrived, and he could not have been more excited because within the first few minutes his students were listening eagerly. Though when it came time for the students to apply what they had learned, they struggled. They were taught the placement and order in which utensils were meant to be used. A few struggled to demonstrate and explain the order back to her. Ms. Hollingsworth moved on. She pointed out that placement settings are basic knowledge and that everybody needs to know, and if you don't, you may find yourself in an embarrassing situation. She then later reprimanded 2 students for eating diced fruit with their hands, saying it simply wasn't acceptable. After this, students started losing interest and stopped paying attention. When he asked them to pay attention, Tanya, one of his vocal students, told him, "No thank you, this lady is teaching us to act snooty, and that's not something I want to learn." Mr. Payton knew he needed to use this situation as a learning opportunity. Her comment was disrespectful, but he wanted his students to recognize the importance of what they were learning and to realize how these social skills could pay off for them later in life. He wondered why the children couldn't see this.